Welcome lads, we're back for another video. Today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on this past weekend's Premier League action and just kind of talk about how I feel the league is going to shape up in the coming weeks. Now, starting out with the first game, Everton versus Arsenal. Arsenal, what were their players' mentality like going into that game? Yeah, they played okay against Barcelona, and if you ask me, the difference between Barcelona and Arsenal was really that Barcelona took their chances and Arsenal didn't. I mean, you could say that Arsenal had very good chances at both legs. They just could not get the ball in the back of the net. Now, going to this game, Everton, really kind of weird season for them, really. You know, they have good players, they have this sort of potential, but they just don't do it. I mean, most of the time they're just blowing it. But in this game, Arsenal out of the blocks, Danny Welbeck rounding goalkeepers, Alex Iwobi, I think that's how you pronounce his name, looks like he could be a star player, and Everton just did not show up. Arsenal worthy winners, they won the game in the first half. It was just a good result, back in the title race. Now moving on to Chelsea versus West Ham, 2-2. Now Chelsea are kind of another team, kind of like Everton, really disappointing season. Don't quite know what's going on here. Talking about transition, right? That's what's getting said around Chelsea. Why are they in transition? What kind of thing would say that they're in transition? Hazard isn't old. This squad isn't old. Like, Chelsea have been in transition before and done better, frankly, when they lost the likes of Drogba and Lampard. Like, they're not in transit. This is ridiculous. And yeah, they got kind of lucky against West Ham, really. West Ham probably should have won it. That was not in the box for that second goal. Great free kick by Fabregas. But apart from that, it was just weak. Could West Ham get into the top four? You would think no, but you never know. Bit of a disappointment for them in this game, but they'll march on. Now, Crystal Palace versus Leicester. Now, this is a game, and this is a team that many neutrals will not agree with me on this, but I don't want to see Leicester win it. I don't like the idea of Leicester winning it, because I want to see the Premier League back to its best. And Leicester winning this, in my personal opinion, is not good for that. Because can Leicester be a team that consistently does this? I don't think they can. I think this was a one-season wonder, fluky thing. I mean, you watch these Leicester games, everything goes right for them. Nothing bad seems to ever happen for them. Can the luck continue on? Crystal Palace had chances, they just could not score. Leicester aren't necessarily playing too good right now, but they're getting results, and they're probably going to end up winning the league. But do I think it's a good thing for the Premier League? No. Sure, it shows the competitive edge to it, but I want to get back to the days of dominating in Europe. Not this. Leicester? Really? Our best team is Leicester against the likes of the Spanish and the German best teams. Get annihilated, absolutely torn apart. Now, moving on to Watford versus Stoke. Watford had a great season. They got promotion. They're in the FA Cup semi-finals. They lost, but, you know, moving up the table for them is not really the thing. I mean, I think they're safe. I'm pretty sure that their point total will allow them to be safe. But I think they're gonna stay up, obviously. As I said earlier, Stoke, good win for them, but it's just kind of a game that doesn't really... It's getting to the point now where these games for these mid-table teams, it's just their seasons are kind of over. Not Watford's season is not over, but in the Premier League you could argue that maybe it's a bit over. But, you know, it was just one of those games. Watford just didn't play well, came a bit back into it in the second half, but Stoke were probably the worthy winners. Now, moving on to West Brom versus Norwich. Norwich, I had a feeling they were going to win this. Are Norwich going to sneak that up and allow the two kind of big northeast clubs to get relegated? I mean, you would think no, but keep doing that, and the way those teams are playing, who knows? Now, moving on to Swansea versus Aston Villa. What can you say about Aston Villa? They're down. There's not really much to say except maybe a bit of pride, and they didn't get smashed by Swansea. Real boring match. I mean, I was watching it, I just had to turn it off, frankly. It was just like, oh my god, what is this? And Swansea got the win. I think Swansea are probably safe at this point. You would have to say that the relegation battle is going to be between Norwich, Newcastle and Sunderland. Now, talking about Newcastle and Sunderland, 1-1 absolute mental match. It always is. It's always such a good... It doesn't matter what position they're on the table. I mean, it could be a mental match in the championship next season, and that's a very realistic thing that could happen. Both teams kind of needed a win. 1-1's probably fair. I just feel for Newcastle, where are they going to score goals? I think Sunderland got a better chance because Defoe scores goals. He scored in this game. But for Newcastle, I mean, can they get enough goals? No, Mitrovic scores a goal, some fans celebrating with him, then he gets knocked out, and then he wants to come back in. He's going absolutely mental on the sidelines. You can see the physio just kind of shaking his head at Rafa, just like, no, he ain't coming back in, he can't come back in. And he's just going apeshit to try and get back in. That's the sort of passion that you want to see, because there's been a lot of talk recently that these players don't exactly show the kind of passion for these big local games because they're foreign. They don't understand it. And it's, a bit of a disappointment. But not with Mitrovic. He knew what that was all about. Got the goal for Newcastle. 1-1. See what happens. I still think Newcastle have the players to do it. And you would like to see them stay up. Now, look, Southampton versus Liverpool. Madness. Southampton should have had a penalty. While it was 0-0. Liverpool went 2-0 up. Coutinho and Sturridge, and then it just all went downhill. Is it the fact that they had such a small amount of rest after the Manchester United Europa League game? I mean, you could argue that, but still, to be 2-0 up, Southampton are on a crazy run. I think they're on a really... I don't know if it's a winning streak or an undefeated streak, but they've been playing well. They're going to get their top 10 finish. They're not going to probably push to the top 4. I don't think they really got that in the locker. But Southampton have definitely established themselves now as a Premier League team. Top 10 Premier League team. Not just a Premier League team like a Stoke. But a top 10 team. Now moving on to the big one. Well, it's not as big anymore, frankly. And that's another depressing thing, frankly. Manchester City versus Manchester United. Holy shit the bed. Manchester United 1-1-0. What is going on with City? City have always been a very inconsistent top team, and they're at it again. I mean, I know that what's his name, Pellegrini is leaving, but still, Manchester United are playing with kids. Rashford looks like a promising player. Now, I'm not going to say to get overhyped on him, and I think that could happen. Playing at Manchester United, he's English. I mean, it always has the recipe for disaster, that, because the hype levels are through the roof. And the interesting thing when I was watching this match was I was thinking, so the talk is that Jose Mourinho is going to get, now he is notoriously known for not playing the youth. He doesn't play youth, to his detriment, if you ask me. So maybe Rashford's career could falter out if they get Mourinho in, and the reports are that he is getting in. You do hear these interviews, I think on BT yesterday, or not yesterday, but on Saturday, he was talking about having a contract in place. He didn't want to disrupt the season. Now, I would say, I don't think he said he had a contract in place, but he had some sort of thing lined up. It was all very coded, but I really think that he was talking about Manchester United, and for the likes of the Rashfords, the Lingards, that's not his style to develop youth. He will come in, he'll splash the cash. Man United have got cash. They're just spending it on players that are just not cutting it, frankly. Great defensive performance. Smalling should have been sent off. Rashford should have had a penalty. The ref was having an absolute mare. High passion. Great match. Just, we'll see what happens with the top 4. I mean, are West Ham going to sneak in front of the Manchester clubs, really? I can't see it happening, I gotta say. I mean, on the current form, what are the odds of Manchester City winning the Champions League? We all know that's probably not going to happen. And Man United getting top 4, 4th place. I mean, that would be madness. And now moving on, because when Chelsea did that, back to this original point I heard the other day, both of those teams would go to the Champions League, because when Chelsea won the Champions League, Tottenham and Harry Redknapp's job was cost because of this, frankly, in my opinion, dropped out, even though they finished 4th. Now, speaking of Tottenham, 3-0 Harry Kane against Bournemouth. Harry Kane smashing it like usual. Absolutely tore this team apart. Bournemouth, I mean, are Bournemouth really playing to their full potential? Probably not at this point. They've achieved their goal. I mean, they're not guaranteed safety. I mean, I think if they do a Crystal Palace and lose every game this year, lose every game, but not win this year, they could be in trouble. But well done, Bournemouth. I mean, are you looking at? I mean, you got Watford and Bournemouth both staying up. It's very good. And Bournemouth, definitely, you didn't really think that they would stay up. You know, great story, but you would have thought that they would have gone down. But well done to them. Harry Kane doing his thing, 2 goals, and he's just looking such an amazing player. I mean, do England have a chance at the Euros with the likes of Kane, Ali? I mean, what is going on? That is one great positive from this kind of crazy season, is frankly the emergence of all these good, moderately good English players. It's just been madness. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Make sure to drop a like, drop a comment on what you thought about this past weekend's games, and as always, follow me on Twitter @FIFA Wisdom and subscribe so you catch all my videos. And I'm out. Bye bye.